Hi everyone, welcome back to Mom Meets World. I'm Angela Eustace, founder of Radiant Heart Center VA.
And I'm Kathy Desai-Seltzer, owner of Vyana Infant Massage.
And today we are so excited. This is our first time with two guests. We have Kate and Adrian from Mother Nation. I always want to say boom after that.
Yeah. Awesome.
And they have an amazing organization and they are going to share what they do and so much more. So let's get started.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, sure.
So let's start with, what do you do? What is Mother Nation?
Absolutely. So Mother Nation at its core is an organization that connects and empowers today's mothers for tomorrow. And we think about that in terms of like actual tomorrow, but then like future tomorrow.
Okay.
And we do that by our core offering. It's called Mother Nation Circles. And so we will gather up to 8 women to meet in each other's homes. And we train one of the mamas in peer facilitation. So things like empathy. We're really big empathizers.
Yeah.
Radical.
Yes,
Yeah,
radical
I like
empathy and communication, connected listening and that sort of thing, so that the moms can really get together and provide support to each other, as well as maybe an outlet to vent. But really, it's a more structured circle. We kind of joke that it's between a coffee clutch and like group therapy. You know? It's like what we're going for.
Yeah.
When mamas submit to join a circle, they can prioritize: are they interested in meeting local moms? Are they interested more in meeting moms at the same stage? Or is there a particular topic?
Right.
So it could be, we know that twin moms, they can share, have different experiences.
Yeah.
Maybe your child has disabilities, whatever it might be. And
Yeah.
so we have an algorithm that helps gather moms in that way. We do broader community, gathering as well. We have monthly events, and we are about to launch a private online community that is not Facebook, because we got feedback that people don't like Facebook and due to privacy concerns or whatnot.
Yeah.
So we're excited to kind of have this new, like, in real life online approach.
Cool. That's amazing.
It seems like at its core, Mother Nation is sort of tackling what we've been talking about in almost every episode, which is the lack of community.
Yes.
And really kind of being intentional about bringing women together and taking out all that mom guilt and mom shame and judgment that we see on social media, and just being real. Like, nobody's perfect. We've got some things that we're doing well. We've got some things that we're not. We experience that every time we talk. Like, oh, my child, try this. So I love that you are creating the space for moms to get together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and also in our values, we're creating the safety to do it.
Yes.
Because when you meet another mom on the playground, it's really difficult to all of a sudden start talking about the things that are really hard for you.
Like, oh my God, girl.
And so that it takes so much more time to make authentic mom friendships.
Yes.
And moms need support yesterday, like
Yes.
before the baby comes
Yes.
out.
I know.
And so what we really want is for moms to be able to be in a group setting in which they know everyone else has that shared value, that however you're making it work is the best way for your family. And if everyone who's sitting there believes the same thing, it's much easier to talk about the things that you're struggling with or things you want to grow in, and also celebrate, because it's very easy to feel like you're bragging.
Right.
You should, but you should also feel like it's not bragging.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
And that's difficult on the playground.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. We really need just more of that space and time.
Yes.
And I love what you were saying too about every family is going to be different, and we should celebrate that instead of being judgy about it. And so I think also people can learn new things that they want to implement in their families if they had a more open mindset.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think sometimes it's hard that if someone chooses to do something different from you, then lots of times you, the greater you, feel like you have to justify your decision.
Right.
If someone didn't do exactly what I do, then I have to say why my decision was better. Versus nobody wakes up in your bed with you. Like, nobody has your life. So you made the decision that's right for your family. We can respect that, and they made the decision that's right for them as a person and their family.
Can you tell us what led you to this work?
Yes,
To creating
I
Mother
can.
Nation?
Gosh, many things. So my background is in social work, and so I've always worked with perinatal women and their families. And Adrian actually is like a 40 under 40 lawyer, like a badass, like in the office every day. And so we have really different backgrounds, but it all kind of came to a hilt. Our babies were born about 36 hours apart.
Oh my gosh.
I think I always joke, I saw Adrian's husband the day she went into labor and said, like, I'm so excited, like, we can't wait to hear some news. And then I closed the door after I said goodbye to him, and I burst into tears because I was so miserably pregnant with my twins. I just wanted to not be pregnant anymore, and I was so jealous of you.
Jealous of those labor pains.
I was. I mean, I was on bed rest, so I was just like stuck at home for so long that I really was jealous in that moment. And then later we texted them to say, like, our babies are coming today. We'd already heard that Evelyn, her daughter, was born. And I said, I think my two just thought it sounded like so much fun because my water broke that night. Yeah. So we became mothers together and navigated that postpartum period together. And even though they were very different postpartum experiences, we had a lot of shared thoughts around our experiences. Why is this so hard for us? And I think I looked at Adrienne as someone who I always seen just like conquer everything she kind of had come up against in her life. And she looked at me as like knowing about children much more than she had because that was my background, right? Yeah. And we both were still like, and so we both were like, if she doesn't know what she's doing, I'm screwed. And so, and then separately, like, just we were mad, really mad that it was happening to us, and felt like we could not share it with anyone but each other. That it wasn't a larger conversation. It was a really difficult conversation in our relationships and like with our parents, with everybody. And so it led us to want more for other mothers and for ourselves. And so it took us about 18 months. I think our kids were about 18 months when we finally were like, okay, we have to do this. And just started going from there. But what we just really wanted was for moms to not feel as alone as we did. We helped each other, but we thought it could be bigger.
Yeah. The only other thing I would add to that is just right around that 18-month period is when I experienced a pregnancy loss, which is like another, like the underbelly and, heartbreak of motherhood and a whole other thing that felt very isolating and that nobody talks about in a time when mothers need more support, and we were just like, that's it. Like,
that's the last.
It was the catalyst for us. It created a larger sense of urgency. Because it is easy to get tied down in the like mundane day to day of taking care of a toddler, but that really definitely pushed us to move faster.
And I think we took that and kind of expanded, like, so on the ground, we need to make some change. Absolutely. We want to, like, we know the power of women coming together, and so we want to help make those connections. But then also, as we got into this space, we're like, hold up. Like, mothers are struggling, and there's a lot that, like, our greater culture, society, and government can do to support. So we've been trying to kind of figure out ways to harness that energy and power to then have some more positive change and impact at a more macro level.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
What do you wish pregnant or new moms knew about motherhood to prepare and be less lonely, less isolated, have a little more success in their motherhood journey?
Yeah, we asked that question. we did a market survey because as we were planning out our monthly events, we wanted to make sure we were being responsive to what moms needed. Interestingly, so we asked it if there was one thing you could know more about now that you've had your child. If there's one thing you could know more about while you were pregnant, what would it be? Overwhelmingly, I think it was like
76%.
76% respondents, and we had like a good sample size, was the impact of baby on my relationship. And so I think that there is this, when you're pregnant and you're excited, you're thinking about the baby, you're not thinking about yourself, we know that, right? But you're also not thinking about your relationship with a partner. And you're really excited or anxious or whatever, but the focus is not there. So, what can you do? There's a place called the Gottman Institute, and they have this whole certification program about bringing home baby that's focused on making sure you have the strong foundation in your relationship. Much of it, as you can imagine, comes down to communication. But I think that's just thinking about it. Asking the questions, who's going to get up at night? Do you know what I mean? How are you feeling today? What are you scared about? What are you excited about? To both partners, and like opening that dialogue, I think would be great. That was, personal experience, but again, like based on a lot of mamas.
Personal experience over here.
Oh yeah.
And I talk to people about it all the time. Because you're so focused on the baby that you feel like I can let the relationship go. Or some people say,
it'll be fine.
This is hard, and then I thought to myself, but my husband and I have such a great relationship. We're fine.
Boom!
And then it was
another boom!
Yeah, exactly. That was
reason no one can prepare you for motherhood.
Right.
Because you can't understand the like depth that it really affects. Yeah, you just can't, you can't even fathom how much it will change in your life. And so then your partner definitely can't either.
Right.
And so there's no way, nobody believes that it will affect their life as much as it did someone else.
Yes.
Oh, well, their relationship is in the toilet because their baby didn't sleep and our baby can sleep.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah,
like
we have tons of sex.
Right.
So
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be fine until like your wife has some kind of prolapse and like you can't have sex for a really long time.
Right.
Right? Or like whatever, you get put on pelvic rest, like stuff happens, and a lot of it is that you don't even know what could happen.
Yeah.
Because
that's so true. Because you think you had a baby and then you don't know what normal is after.
Yeah.
So then women suffer through all this pain.
So we heard that was the issue that moms wish they knew. We formed this really great panel to talk about that issue, and we got so little. Yes. So that's
people are embarrassed. That's the other. This is why we need to also have these small, intimate groups because people are embarrassed to go to a larger setting, not knowing who will be there, or if that were to happen, maybe in the Mother Nation circle.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
And we I can speak from personal experience. We were totally solid. We had a really strong relationship, and we still do. But twins, man, that is not like it's one-to-one defense from the moment your family starts. And like I seriously, we didn't even sleep in the same bed for the first 6 months because we were on shifts.
Right.
And so I missed my wife like crazy on top of all the other things that are happening.
Right.
Just lack of quality time is something that your relationship is not used to, and that shift is okay, but if you're not prepared for the shift to happen, the chance that you can do it positively is pretty low.
Yeah.
So you gotta prep for it.
Right.
And that's not something that a lot of people can think about in pregnancy because you're picturing this rosy
Wonderful,
hue,
beautiful
right,
life.
exactly.
Yeah.
and it really is, but you gotta work for that.
Yeah, exactly. Is there anything else you wish pregnant women knew?
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to the expectations, you're expecting this rosy, beautiful moment, and I think it's so important that moms know it's okay if that doesn't happen right away. Yes. It is different for everyone based on literally every moment of your life has affected all of the abilities in you being able to relate to your baby and your baby being able to relate to you, and not to mention the birth and the postpartum period. It is okay if it does not happen right away, and there is no shame in it taking time.
Yeah.
That is not something that a lot of new moms say they knew before, and it is something that can really create a lot of stress around the beginning of your baby's life. There's a long time in that relationship, and your baby loves you so much, they're going to work for it too.
Yeah.
And just in general, I think everyone's expectations around their parenthood are too high.
Yes. Absolutely.
And I want everyone to have goals in parenting, but
survival is a good goal.
Survival
Yeah.
is a goal.
Yeah.
Seriously,
It
to
is.
the end of the day.
Yeah.
Seriously, my goal every day was like, I need a half an hour after they are asleep to pump. That was my goal. And if I had that goal every day,
to pump.
Yeah.
Not to
Still
read a
not for
book.
you, not for you.
no, seriously, that was what made me feel like I have survived this day.
Mine were the hot showers.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was like
At the end of the night.
That was like a once a week
Don't come into
celebration.
the room. Don't talk to me. Like, I'm in the bathroom. I need 20 minutes for a hot shower.
And so that's the thing. Everyone's are different.
Yeah.
Everyone's level of normal is going to be different. Everyone's expectation has to be low so that there's the space for those shifts that you can feel good. Like I woke up feeling good because I got that pump, and you woke up feeling good because you got your shower.
Yes. Yeah.
But you might have to ask for help to get your shower.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. So
and ask for
lower
help.
the expectations of yourself
Yes.
and increase the expectations of others and those around you.
Yeah.
Because unless you explain to whomever might be around, you need to sit here with the baby because I need to go take a shower.
Yes.
They're not going to know. Yeah, it's much like the transition to motherhood in adolescence and the transition to adulthood. Like, you're figuring it out.
Yeah.
It's an identity shift, and you have to grow into
identity
it.
shift. I mean, there's a
It's
whole
the biggest,
new...
I would say.
Yeah.
From woman to mother, and we don't talk about it.
Yeah. Well, it's very new. I mean, there's a reproductive psychologist who, she's a psychiatrist actually. I don't want to misrepresent her. Her name is Alexandra Sachs. She's fantastic, and she is now studying this transition. That's her life's work. So she started looking in medical dictionaries, medical textbooks, looking for more information about the transition from person to mother, and couldn't find anything. And then in an anthropological textbook found something like written back in the 70s, like a sentence about it called matrescence. And she says matrescence. Yes. Okay. And I basically think that she invented it at this point for all intents and purposes. So matrescence, like she's the pro. And it sounds like adolescence because it is like adolescence. You're going through massive hormonal shifts, massive identity shifts, and massive body changes all at once. And there's so much, like there's plenty of medical textbooks about adolescence and how to support adolescent patients, but there's nothing about how to support matrescence patients, women who are shifting.
And I think that exists more in other cultures.
Yes.
Maybe not so much in an academic way, but in just, this is how we've always done it.
Mm-hmm.
And so like in our culture, they say there's a birth of a mother when a baby is born.
Yes. Yeah, she
and
says
then
that
there
as well.
come all the things that comes with that, like support mom and cooking and cleaning and physically recovering and providing the spiritual inspiration to baby. So they don't necessarily talk about it in that way, but they understand. And they've understood, unlike maybe we have in this country.
Oh yeah,
just
well,
a societal
welcome to America.
norm.
We have to have a textbook, or we can't make it a societal norm. Like, we need to all spell
It's
that
not
out.
valid until it's right.
Or a movie, or like a blockbuster movie about it. We're getting there.
Right, absolutely.
Can you ladies tell us, why do families need postpartum support?
I mean, like why don't they?
Why
There's
not?
like a thousand reasons. But go ahead first.
Yeah, I think like even on that sort of difference between cultural point, the American College of OBGYNs, ACOG, in May of 2018 released a publication that used a metaphor of baby to mother like candy and wrapper. And in America, once the baby is born, it's like the candy, you take the wrapper and you throw it away. And that's the mom. We do not pay any attention to the mom. Everything is on the baby. And these are OBGYNs
that are
saying this, right? So in this, the point of them using that metaphor, and they also said, quote, we need a societal call to action to provide better postpartum care for mothers. And in it, they're going through, they use examples of, okay, the doctor sees the mom one time, it's 6 weeks.
Right. To clear her basically that her body is
ready for sex.
ready for sex. Like she's gone through the postpartum period. It should be, her uterus should be back to normal. See you. Goodbye.
Go have sex.
Go make another baby.
What?
You're ready.
Yeah. And that, to be fair, that's not what the doctors are saying, but that's what our society has said the 6-week appointment is about, right?
Right.
And so in this report, they said they should be meeting them at least at 2 weeks and probably more often even than that. And it also talks about postpartum social support, which is where we're hoping to come in with our circles to like fill that gap and just let moms feel less alone. So I say that's one big reason, is that it can be very isolating and very overwhelming. So we've got like the doctors saying we need to do it. And I recently asked a doctor, I was like, okay, you guys said you need to do that 18 months ago. Like, how does that work, do you know? But like, fair enough, like there's a lot of processes that need to come into place. So hopefully we actually see some improvement from the healthcare standpoint. And then just more of women sharing stories and like being real with each other to get at the isolation as well.
Absolutely, because isolation builds up the wall that like their vulnerabilities cannot come through, and vulnerability is like we always say, like Brene Brown says it, connection. And so like if you are vulnerable with the person who is next to you, you will connect with them. They will connect with you, and like that is a building block. Like then you just keep going. You keep being vulnerable. You keep sharing, and then it becomes very normalized that you're all struggling in some way. You're all succeeding in some way, and you're all doing it. You're all being mothers,
and
that's
we are
the way.
all
And you're doing great. Yes, being a mother is doing great. It's hard as hell. Oh, am I allowed to swear? It's really hard, and there's nothing else that is so difficult that feels like you don't get as much negative feedback for other difficult things that you're doing, but you get negative feedback back to postpartum support from everyone. There's so much outside noise in motherhood. You hear like 1,000 news reports about all the things you have to keep your kids away from every single day. You hear all the anecdotes from people on playgrounds, in the library, in your office.
Oh, and then get your body back.
Oh yes, get your body back. What is that?
I don't know.
It didn't go anywhere. It's
Right.
like, put it on a
Yeah.
shelf and like then carry the baby and then you go back to your shelf body. Like it is still yours. But it's true, there is a body image shift. That's definitely a thing. But if women had more support, like at a societal level, about people interpreting postpartum bodies in a positive way, they would not feel any pressure to get a body back. So that's really important, just like something women need postpartum. But also, particularly in DC, and other people who live in large cities could say the same, I would expect, it's a lot of transplants. So people don't have their extended families near them. And you know, maybe your mom can come for a week, maybe your aunt could come to spend some time, your sister, whoever they are from another part of the country or the world, but everyone has to go back home, and then you still just you and your baby. And so the support is then ended abruptly. So women need something that is local, long-term, and that they can rely on, that they know has their back. That's Mother Nation.
Yes. Boom.
Yeah.
I have to say that.
So you mentioned macro level. Could you just briefly talk a little bit about what policies Mother Nation is working on? Because we can do all this great stuff locally.
Ignore briefly. Just
I was like, how can I say this?
But there's so much that government and healthcare systems and education systems need to do differently to start supporting mothers.
Yes. So I think one big thing, what we're going to do, by the way, is we have kind of 4 issues which we can talk about, and we're partnering with community organizations that are dedicated to advocacy on each of these issues. So a portion of all of our member fees go towards these organizations. We have advocacy days, volunteer, letter writing, all that kind of thing. The big one right now is paid family leave. So in the US, we're the only developed country that doesn't have any, and we think it really sets us up poorly.
To say the least.
And contributes to the societal expectation that life goes back to normal.
Life goes back to normal, that we have to carry all of the mental load. It plays into the gender pay gap. There's just so much. So I think that there is the Family Act that's in front of Congress right now. There is an organization called Plus that we're looking to partner with to just make our voices heard.
So if anyone from Plus is watching, call us.
So, you know, that just to make our voices heard, and we really think that if that could just be one less thing families think about while they're pregnant, it could just help us physically heal, emotionally heal, without worrying about what's happening to our career and that sort of thing. So that's one really big change that we think we absolutely need in this country, and we hope we see it, like, you know, before we might have other kids. You know? But even if we don't, even if it doesn't impact us, it's the right thing, and that's why we want it. The other is universal childcare, which is, I understand, a little bit more progressive than paid family leave, but the idea being that, especially in DC, we spend more on childcare than any other area in the country. And so it's, again, another huge added stress for families.
It's more expensive than sending your kid to an in-state college.
Like way more.
And they can help pay for that. And they can help pay for daycare. So anyway, keep going.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's just it. Like, it's a problem that needs to be solved at a higher level. And I think it also would really help a lot of women who might opt out of the workforce completely to get back in whenever they are comfortable. And then that could help the economy. If you need to put dollars to it, it would help the economy. Like, numbers wise, it makes sense. So those are 2 you want to talk about.
Yes, absolutely. So the third, although none of these are ranked in order at all, would be postpartum mood and anxiety disorders. I think, I mean, I'm not a psychologist in any way, shape, or form, but the rates of PMADs, that's what they're called for short, they're astronomical, and they're underreported as it is. So they're much higher than we know. Women are not comfortable accessing support. They're not able to access support in some instances. There's a lot of stigma culturally and systemically around them. And people are suffering. Families end up suffering when a mother is suffering from a postpartum mood or anxiety disorder, which is lots of different things, but the most 2 common are postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. add that to the mental load and the expectation that a mother, especially when on maternity leave, is in charge of the home and family, and it's a recipe for disaster, separately from a mood and anxiety disorder that needs to be treated clinically. And so they fold in on each other and create a really, really disastrous situation. The number one killer of women who have a baby under the age of 1 is death by suicide. Because women are not feeling supported in this time and not able to access the care. It's difficult for women who are accessing care to find adequate care, for insurance to cover it, because a lot of insurance companies don't even recognize that it's a postpartum issue if your baby is 1 year and 1 day. Even if you've been suffering since birth, your insurance won't cover it, in many cases. And so
Medicaid does not cover it.
Medicaid does not cover it.
And
so then that goes into generational poverty, which is like, I mean, a whole
other topic
that I could come back to talk about.
Yeah, part 2.
And then going back to generational poverty is our 4th issue, which is the maternal mortality crisis. Particularly in communities of color, women of color are dying at intensely higher rates even than white women.
In DC, it's 4 times.
Yeah, in DC alone, it's 4 times the rate.
It's racial bias.
It's racial bias.
Absolutely.
It's racial bias, not even like apparent racial bias. Even if your doctor is not, doesn't consider themselves a racist, they're in a racist system that does not take care of women of color. And so America is also one of the only developing countries whose maternal mortality rate is rising. Other countries are slashing the
exponentially. It's not just like kind of rising.
Right, so we all know that organization, Every Mother Counts. I think Christy Brinkley, right?
Christy
Turlington, thank you. Christy Turlington
another beautiful Christy.
Yes, a different Christy, another this one. So easy to mix up all those beautiful Christys. But she is, I think she started that organization and continues to work with them, and they work only in countries whose rates are rising, and the United States is the only developed nation in which they are working. And as soon as, if we were ever able to change our rates, they would leave and go to a country that needs more support. But we are in that category because
900 mothers, 700 to 900 they estimate, die each year. And the really heartbreaking part is that then 50% of those deaths are preventable. And then that doesn't even include near misses, which is like 30,000. And it's usually from blood clots or hemorrhages. And there's a lot of anecdotes, but we hear a lot about moms just being ignored, complaining of symptoms, but they're not being taken seriously, or the hospital's not having the right kit, like the actual equipment as accessible as it needs to be in the room, in the recovery room, to be able to help. So 50% of 700 to 900 and 50% of 30,000 plus near misses
are all preventable.
And so that is something that I think, as mothers, whether or not you experienced a near miss or know anyone who died in childbirth, come on, let's get together and help each other, because we don't want that to happen to one more person, right?
And just because, I think about I'm so fortunate to have my 2 Earthside with me all the time. My 3rd may not be that way because of all of these issues that mothers in America face. And so it is not acceptable for women to wonder every single day of their pregnancy and birth and postpartum if they're going to make it through alive. It's unacceptable.
And we talk about Mother Nation as present, but then Kate has said, and I love it, we are the mothers of the nation. Our children are going to be the mothers.
It's our job to raise this nation the way that we see fit.
So even if it's not
another one.
Even if it's not you need the interest, you need to think about your daughter to work on whatever issue is important to your daughter. So if it's not out of oneness, do it for your legacy and the future of America. And I do think that if we made those policy changes, it would have a massive ripple effect. It would take a lot of anxiety and just straight up fear out of becoming a mother in our culture today. We encourage a lot of women and moms to get involved with our community as early as possible. So while you're pregnant, you can meet your village, as they say, that you will lean on after you have the baby. If you wait until after you have the baby, again, you're going through all these identity transitions. It's not necessarily the best time to meet someone. So I would say call us now.
Absolutely.
Yes, call now. And what we're really trying to do with the policy and advocacy piece is be that intermediary. So if you get involved in our community, we're going to work hard to make sure that you're informed about what you can do exactly and what could fit into your life. Like, it might not be marching on the hill every day, but maybe a couple times a year.
Absolutely. So to call us early, to get involved, our website is www.mothernation.co, and we're also very active on Instagram. We're at _mothernation.
Awesome. So great. Thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you.
For bringing so much knowledge and wisdom, and things for people to think about. All of these topics. Rewatch this episode because there's a lot of content, and we really want to make sure you don't miss these gems. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Like they say, ain't no hood like the motherhood. Bye. Thanks for joining us.